So as I stated in the last video, today I'll be talking about how I propose that you can use data that you collect to actually make more sales on Poshmark in the future. So this is by no means guaranteed, but something that I think will help optimize your activity for sharing and interacting with customers on a regular basis. So with that being said, if you haven't watched my video on making a Poshmark inventory tracking system, at this time you'll probably want to head over to that video and then come back. So I'll have that linked in the description below. If you find this video interesting and enjoy it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. So with that being said, we'll hop right into my proposal. So first off, it should be known that Poshmark is pretty hidden with its data, meaning that they don't release a lot of user numbers or what time users are mostly on the platform or anything really that would be valuable to analyze and look for optimal times for sharing and interacting. So with that being said though, they do offer you a sales report, but unfortunately this won't provide all the data that we're looking for to come up with this method. So with that being said, I'll direct back to my Poshmark inventory tracking, which I talked about in that previous video. So with this, one important category was added, and as you can see, that would be this sales time category. And this is something that you actually have to collect manually as a form of data. So what I do is whenever I get a sale now, I put in the time that the sale went through. So for example, the Oakley Elemental Golf Polo, that went through at 12 noon. So I'm using a military time scale, so I'm going to click 12 noon. For these ones here, I don't have exact times since these are in yellow, but what happens is if you look under your news in your actual app and then orders, eventually it'll pop up with the date like June 10th and then the time of day, so like 11:05. So I take that, I input it into the spreadsheet and then round that to the nearest hour so I can have 24 different categories, hours of the day where I've sold things. And then what you can do from there is you can actually create a pie chart or whatever chart of your choice by highlighting the data and then clicking Insert in Sheets, Chart, and then I will change this to the pie chart, as you can see I have already, or I can even go a bar graph or whatever. But I like the pie chart. So now what we can conclude from this data is, so at 12 noon, this is where I make 33% of my sales. So what I should be doing at 12 noon is I should be sharing like crazy, interacting with people by sending offers, and just overall being engaged in Poshmark at that time, because if I'm doing things at the non-optimal time of day, I could just be missing out because people aren't simply there to purchase my items. So that's how I'm proposing that you can actually use the data that you gain from your sales, i.e. the time of day that the item was sold, to forecast future sales that you'll have during the same times of day. So this is my lofty proposal. As I gain more data from my personal sales, as you can see, I only have a sample size of 6 now, so it's pretty small and limited. I'll be sure to share with you how my portfolio grows and what time of days actually are optimal for sharing, at least with my items. A couple things that I thought of with this are that obviously this isn't an exact science. The data that I come up with won't be the optimal data for you because we each have a different niche market where I may be selling men's clothing and men may be on the platform at 4 p.m. a lot and buying things at that time. While if you're selling women's things and they're a little later in the day, the data won't be applicable. So that's something that you have to be aware of. And also you have to take into account that while humans are habits of creature, there will be outliers in your data, like someone might buy something at 3 in the morning, but those are all things that have to be taken into account when you're looking at your finalized pie chart. So I'd be interested to hear any opinions that you have on this method, or if you experienced Poshers have actually tracked something similar. Personally, I think this will be an interesting outlook on activity times for Poshmark. If you really wanted to get super technical with this, you could put in the time every time you get a like on an item to see activity. and that would be a really interesting data set, because that would be a lot of data. But with that being said, this concludes today's video. If you have any questions on this method, again, comment section, and I'll have the link to the previous video explaining the Poshmark inventory system, and also a link to that spreadsheet in the description below. But with that being said, the next videos will be on a couple unboxings of items that I actually received from Poshmark, and also for my inventory management system. So be sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on those. But with that, we'll see you next time.